All right, so now we need to delete the items. So every time I click it, I want to delete the item and just remove it from the list. Real simple. We need to do the same thing as before, create a function, pass it in props, and do something. Now, we are using touchable with opacity and touchable without feedback. We have a couple more. Right here, if we scroll down, we have touchable native feedback and touchable highlight. This touchable highlight, it's really simple. Let me do touchable imported at top and say touchable highlight. And I'm gonna do it on the other one, on the list item. So import it, and I'm gonna change it touchable highlight. So this one, what it does, real simple. Whenever we click it, it's gonna create a highlight. That's the only difference. And it's really ugly. You have some props to change some of the color, some everything else, but it really sucks. So I'm gonna use the other one. I don't like this one, never used it. So I'm gonna save it, reload the application, and we get our opacity back. That's good. So now, whenever we unpress it, we want to run a function. So I'm going to go to app and create a function for this. And this function is going to be called on item and delete, just like that. It's going to be equal to a function. And whenever we do this, I'm going to alert, delete, just like we did before, just to make sure everything works. Now, inside the list item, whenever I click one of the items, I want to trigger on item delete. Now I'm going to trigger delete. I'm going to be passing this prop, and this one is going to be equal to on item delete. Very good. So now inside list item, inside props, I can make a reference to props dot delete, and since it's a function, it will trigger our function. So I can reload the application, and if I click it, we are still getting delete. So everything works. We are running this. So now what we need to do, and we have a problem, we need to, whenever we click this element, for example, this element on the list, this is the 0 position because this is an array. This is 0 and this is the 1, right? So whenever we click on the list, we need to tell this function which element inside the list we need to remove. Since we are doing a map over an array, we have the iteration. So this one is going to be the 0 and this is going to be the 1. So what I can do, I can pass the iteration number, and right here, just receive it. And instead of alert delete, I'm going to say alert I. And this is going to be the name of the position of the number we want to delete. So I'm going to click the 20, it's going to be 0. So we get 0. And this one is the 0 position on the array. And if I click the next one, it's going to be 1. So we get this one, the 1 position. Since it's an array, it starts at 0. So now what we can do, we can make use of ES6 and do a filter and say to the filter, pass the filter, and say that if it's different from the index, we don't want to, we want to remove it or not add it to the list. Don't worry, I'm going to show you right now. So first, I'm going to create a variable, a const, that is going to be a new array. Right? New array. You can use whatever name you want. New array. So this one is going to be a copy of whatever we have right here. So I'm going to say this one is equal to this, that state, that random. So now we have a copy of our state. Now I'm going to do a filter, right? So this filter is going to be running a function. Now on each iteration of this filter, I want to run something. Now this filter first is we need to pass the item, which is each item on the list. This is how the looper works. And then I'm going to be passing the index of this filter. So the first time is going to be 0, the second time is going to be 1, because we are looping an array. Now the filter is going to return something. This method always needs to return something. So I'm going to return only if I is different than index. So right here, we're going to be clicking, for example, we have 2 elements, right? So if I click on this one, the 13, this one is going to be the position number 1. So I is going to be equal to 1. Then we're going to be entering this filter is going to enter the random, and it's going to start looping. The first item is going to be 20, but the index is going to be 0. And right here we are saying, okay, so if I, which is 1, it's different than 0, then we want to add it to the new array. This one, it's allowed. So it's going to put it inside a new array, right? So on the next iteration, it's going to go to the position number 1. So it's going to enter here and it's going to say, okay, is it 1 equal than 1? Well, yes, so it will not return it. And the new array is going to be equal to whatever we have right here. So it kind of makes sense. This is just a standard JavaScript, just ES6 or ES5. So I'm going to say this, since we have a new state inside the new array variable, I'm going to say this set state and random equals new array. All right, so this should be working. I'm going to save it, reload the application. I'm going to delete the 13 and no more. Right here you see a line, and this is this is from the simulator. So if I click 20, it's deleted. And if I add a number, it's going to be adding more numbers. And if I click them, it will delete them. And we have that nice opacity effect. Very good. So, this works. Okay, so enough about this. Let's go to the next section, and we will be discussing inputs, handling inputs.